Hey everybody, it's Jamie Palmer here, and today I want to talk to you about email marketing ninja tips for six-figure business owners. Email marketing is one of those things that if you do it and you do it well and you do it consistently, email marketing and an email list can be pure gold for your business. And it is a lifeline when you need to make more sales or you're doing a launch or you have an offer to put out there. It is a fantastic way to get in touch with your audience. So lists are one of the few things in this online marketing world that you get to own. Well, sort of own. You kind of lease it. You're leasing the email addresses from the owner. And on average, Adobe says that an email is worth $39.86 over the life of the email. Now, one thing that I see people make the mistake of is they don't start building a list until they're ready to launch something. And I would contend that you want to start building a list before you even worry about anything else, before you worry about your offer, before you worry about building your community, before any of that stuff, because a list is pure gold and a list is so valuable, especially if it is engaged. And what happens is when you go to create a group offer or when you have an opening for your one-on-one, you have people to offer that opening to. And that's why a list is so important. And oftentimes I see people kind of do this backwards. They make this course and then they try and launch to it. They want to do this membership site, but they haven't built a list yet. And really, you need roughly 1,000 engaged people on your list before I recommend doing what I would call a formal launch. Now, evergreen, that's a completely different story. We're not going to tackle that today, but email marketing is a game changer. And so building that list is really, really important. And I highly recommend you get started before you even start thinking about an offer or a product or a course or a membership site. So the sooner the better. And if you're a six-figure business owner, you already know this, but for many six-figure business owners, they've been working one-on-one and they've neglected to do the list building piece. I'm guilty of that. That's exactly what I did. I was running my business for a solid decade and I hadn't really thought about the list building aspect of growing my online business. Ultimately, I really wanted to change the way in which I was doing business, and it was a lot of work to really change the way in which I was showing up in the online space, and therefore I had to kind of take a couple steps back and think about what is that freebie, how am I gonna list build, what are those next steps? So it's so important for you, if you're listening to this and you're a six-figure business owner, that list has to be the number one priority for you to get started and get moving. So when we work with clients in our BEB program to start to think about email marketing and email list building, we always start with a freebie or an opt-in or a lead magnet. That's essentially what somebody would give you in exchange for their email. And then we have the nurture sequence in place. And then that's where the fun begins. Because once you have those pieces in place, that's where you can start to list build. You can use Facebook ads, you can drive traffic there, you can do all sorts of fun, different things. From there, the next thing that you want to do is when you think about email marketing, you have to be consistent, right? So it's like anything else in the online space, the more consistent that you can get with your message, with your delivery, with the ongoing marketing efforts, the better off that you're going to be. So think about how often you want to email your list. I recommend at least once a week, if not twice a week, especially because it gives you kind of two different ways in which you can communicate with the list. So one would be, hey, I'm delivering value. Two, hey, go check out my YouTube video. And then you would rotate through like a promotional video or a promotion or a sales or an ask, right? And that's so really important. Everybody forgets to do the ask, like, hey, book a call with me. Hey, take this next step with me, whatever that next step might be. The other piece that I really want to talk about when it comes to email marketing ninja tips is your email should be conversational. Oftentimes people get hung up around this whole, my email has to be this perfectly grammatically correct letter. If you notice in the online space, there has been a dramatic shift of people who are doing more conversational emails. It's pulling them into the story. It's telling a story. It's sharing a story. It's sharing an experience. And people will do things like, hey, first name, or can you relate first name? And that really helps pull the people in. I often encourage people on my email list to like hit reply and speak back to me. It makes me crazy when people go through the effort of making this beautifully curated email campaign, because what happens is that ultimately that's gonna render yourself in the promotional folder or the spam folder. It's so frustrating because you want to make that perfect, beautiful, pretty email, but ultimately that's going to be a detriment to your open rate in the long run. And so one of the things that we have found is to have just copy and then only have one link. And you can link that one link in multiple places, but it's so important to only have that one link. And so you really want to say no to all that fluff. If you look at any of the promotional emails that you get from a retail store, that's like a big no-no in email marketing if you want it to get delivered. And that's part of the reason why the Gaps and the Old Navys of the world send you so many emails. It's because of the fact that they want you to open it, right? And they send them every day because they know that if they send them enough, eventually they'll figure out a time, or you'll hit an email at the time we'll actually open it. Well, we can't do that as entrepreneurs, right? We can't send an email every single day to our list. Like, we would lose everybody. It's just overkill. So I say get rid of all the fluff, have one link with one call to action, and keep it very text heavy and make it conversational. And don't forget to ask them to move on to the next step in that journey, that client journey, whatever that is. Perhaps that's to book an appointment. Perhaps that's to watch a masterclass. Perhaps that's to join your Facebook group. Whatever that next step is, don't hesitate to ask people to do that, because I think that there is a lot of merit in ushering people along in that journey. The most important things to remember is get rid of the fluff, make it conversational, make it text heavy, only have one link in there, because that is going to get you into the primary folder and out of the promotional folder. And that's so important in this day and age. Second, you want to make sure that you are consistent. So however often you're going to email, make sure you do that on a regular basis. Third, follow whatever that next journey is. So for us, like at the end of our nurture sequence, I invite people to join into our Social Made Simple course, right? And then after they join the Social Made Simple course, there's a series of emails that go out that encourage them to book a call to move on to the BEB course. Or if they come into our BEB code funnel, at the end, we encourage them to book a call. And so I share this with you because we have a very specific mapped out journey when somebody comes onto your list. And if you're a six-figure business owner, you want to have that same thing in place. And so don't forget to think about what that next step in the journey is. Most people aren't going to necessarily do that right after they get onto your list or right after the nurture sequence. Some will, some won't, but don't forget that in that consistency of your email, whether it's the weekly email or once a month or whatever it is, be mindful of asking them to commit to that next step in that journey with you, because ultimately the more value you deliver in that email list, the faster you're going to be able to get them to move on to that next step in the journey to getting them to be a paying client of yours. And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment below. I love seeing your questions and comments. Hit that subscribe button. We do new videos every single Tuesday. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all soon. Have a fantastic day.